On a recent train trip across the American Midwest, I was struck by the conversation in the club car, which included a heated conversation about the JFK assassination, a conversation about how the vaccine makes your hair fall out, and how Bill Gates is probably the biggest criminal we'll ever know in this lifetime. But when word got out that I was from Chicago, I was confronted with the comments that, "Oh, you're from that place that has that terrible mayor." Welcome, welcome to Sunday Coffee Hour. I'm Stanley Smith. Each week at Sunday Coffee Hour, we talk about increasingly more and more topics which are very important and personal to people and how they affect their lives here in Chicago and around the country. And that's okay. Whatever it is you have to bring to coffee hour or any kind of organic social interaction, it's all good. We can't always pick our conversation partners or our neighbors, but it's important that we can show empathy and compassion whenever we encounter them. This week at Washington National Cathedral, the readings were from Isaiah and Philippians. And the gist of it was the idea that God sometimes gives us the cure or the answer we're looking for instead of what we really need, because it's His way of meeting us where we are. The sermon at Washington National Cathedral was by Patrick Kaiser, and it was about the journey on the Camino de Santiago and this important pilgrimage that many people take. And the gospel reading was about Jesus healing on the Sabbath. On my recent trip to Boulder, Colorado on the train, I was reacquainted with the Hannah Kroger natural health food store and introduced to a new phenomenon, Brene Brown, who's new to me, even though she's been around for 10 years. And I was availed to a podcast which she gave on the topic of shame and showing compassion for others. And she shared the idea that, we're pretty good at doling out criticism. And oddly enough, the people we're closest to and care most about seem to take the brunt of most of our criticism. In the gospel, I think we're struck with the idea of loving our neighbor and showing compassion, but we don't always see that. Recently in Chicago, I was attended a gathering for Willie Wilson, who is running for mayor of the city of Chicago, which will be taking place. The election will be taking place in February. And at the gathering, Mr. Wilson was pretty well spoken on a number of topics, including crime and lack of opportunity for young people, and the idea that we're losing population here in Chicago at a very rapid rate. After the conversation and dinner, we gathered in small groups and had conversation. And in our group, I mentioned the fact that a lot of the topics that Mr. Wilson was talking about are things that, really the church should be on. And I haven't heard the church on many of these topics. And I said, I don't really hear love your neighbor in in the church message these days. And most people agreed that we haven't heard that in the diverse number of churches and denominations that were represented at this dinner. No one could recall the last time we heard love your neighbor. In the Bible, we have this story of visiting a leper colony, and I think in today's world, we could see that the difference between visiting a leper colony and living in a leper colony is the idea of, are we living in fear or are we showing compassion and empathy for others? I don't know if visiting Sunday Coffee Hour is the same as visiting a leper colony, but I think we've got tons and tons of empathy and compassion for people. One of our frequent participants and visitors is suffering from a chronic illness, and we've made calls and reached out to this person, and she shared her journey and how meaningful and important it was to have a network of support she could draw upon when she really couldn't take care of herself, which was a new experience in her life. At the end of exploring her network, she did reach out to church and asked if a care team could be assembled to look after her long term, if in fact that's what's needed. And she learned that church no longer offers care teams. That program has been discontinued because during the pandemic they found that so many people availed themselves of Grubhub and DoorDash that that suffices better than the care team ever did. And they were happy to call in a Grubhub order just for her. If that's the kind of special treatment you're looking for, you might not want to join us here at Sunday Coffee Hour because we're more involved in the social interaction and personal discourse. And if you can call Grubhub on your own, you probably don't need to stop in at Sunday Coffee Hour. But if you'd like to stop in, I will include my email in the description of this video, and I'll be happy to send you an invitation. And I look forward to seeing you very, very soon.